This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. I need a heart machine or something because that game was crazy. The Knicks blew 2 double-digit leads. There was up 10 going into the third quarter, I think, something like that.
Going into the third, yeah.
Going into the third. Down 7 with like 2 minutes left. And they find a way to come back and win by 3. Thanks to Jaylen Brunson. Captain Clutch was in the building. My goodness. I don't know. Tony, I go ahead and say something, man, because I'm still at a loss for words. From the way this game. I'm just glad we got out of this series. We
put it like this,
and we got out.
It didn't look like we was winning that game.
It surely did not.
And I wasn't confident about going back to the Garden.
I surely was not either.
You know what I mean? Like we failed to close them out at home.
Mm-hmm.
It's starting to feel like, between the last couple years that home court advantage is not an advantage for us. Granted, I know there's context behind last year, but again, all the credit has to go to Detroit right now. I think this series said way more about them than it did about us. I think it raised more questions for us than gave answers. You know what I mean? Unless somebody was questioning whether Jaylen Brunson, Captain Clutch, was really him. I'm sure that got answered for those doubters. But other than that, there's nothing was answered. There's been more questions, and I hope you're right. Your prediction on this series prior to it taking place, saying that maybe the Knicks can learn something from the series, pick up some grit, pick up some toughness. Hopefully that is the case. But even in this closeout game, it was more of the same, and that's relying on Jaylen Brunson.
Yeah.
Moving forward, I don't think that's going to be sufficient.
Not against Boston.
I mean, Boston is the next series, but I just mean in general of moving forward.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we have to figure out how to utilize the weapons around him, and I mean, Cat. I know we're gonna break it all down.
I don't even want to talk about Cat yet.
There's so many things.
Yes, a lot of things. I don't want to talk about Cat yet. We're definitely gonna get the Cat because I got a lot of. We'll get the Cat. You know what I mean? The series was. I don't care what anybody says. There's going to be a lot of people. There's a lot of people already in the chat that say, Detroit was. Detroit's not that good. They're wild. Detroit's good. F all of that. Whatever. Detroit is good. You dig what I'm saying? They're a good basketball team. They're going to be good for years to come. I think we should. We got to take our hats off to them. They're a tough basketball team.
I mean, the main thing that they gained in this series was experience that they did not have. You know what I mean? And no that alone will move them so much further for the next couple of years. Right. You know what I mean? Let alone the talent growth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so
they figured out some things. They figured out, and their team is going to change, but they figured out who can step up, right, in clutch moments. You know what I mean? They got pieces that really do fit. Kevin is lying. You're lying, Kevin. I love you, Kevin, but you're lying like a mug. Come on. He said, I was never worried about the Pistons. Bro, you was worried about the Pistons up until the last 30 seconds of this basketball game. Stop lying to yourself. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? The Pistons, figured some things out, how to play with each other in the clutch. Who's going to step up in the clutch. You know what I mean? Like, they learned a lot. I do think the Knicks learned a lot about ourselves in this series. I do think so. You know what I mean? I think that we really did. Anybody in the beginning of the year was asking the question, who's the best between Cat and Brunson? You got your answer in this series. Who's the man on this team? You got your answer in this series. Who's the best offensive player on this team? You got your damn answer in this series. It is Brunson, and it always will be Brunson. As long as don't ask that question anymore, ever again. Don't ask it.
Is this the cat segment?
Not yet. We're gonna get to the cat segment. We're gonna get to the cat segment. So please don't ever ask that again. You know what I'm saying? It is clear who the guy is and who it will be. You know what I'm saying? He never fades away when it's time, when it's a big game. He never fades away. He's always there to step up. You could depend on him. You know what I'm saying? You could depend on him. And he's gonna battle through injuries. He's just gonna battle. So please don't let's not do that. Let's not do that. You know what I'm saying? Jaylen Brunson is the guy. It's Jaylen Brunson's team. Remember that. Get it through your heads, and don't ask that question ever again. We got the answer. You know what I mean? We got the answer. Greg said, if Cat was allowed to take 34 shots in a game, he would have had more points than Brunson. Cat is allowed to. That's the problem. Greg, he's allowed to. The dude can take whatever shot he wants. He's allowed to. That's a dumb take. It's stupid. He's allowed to. It's his problem. Well, we're gonna get the Cat because I got a lot to say.
I was just about to ask you: Is this the cat segment?
No, I'm still on Brunson being Captain Clutch. You know what I'm saying? Brunson always comes through, even when. I mean, there was a point in that fourth quarter where there was just a lid on the rim for Brunson, and he still came through. You know what I'm saying? He still came through major. He was struggling to score the basketball. The Knicks were struggling to score the basketball, and still Brunson came through when the Knicks needed him the most. You know what I mean? And he does it without the histrionics, whatever you want to call it. He does it without all the flair. He just hoops. He just goes and gets it. No matter what is happening, he just goes and gets it. There's nothing fake about him. He just balls. He just plays ball. You know what I'm saying? That's what he is. That's what he does. That's what he is. You know what I mean? My man, DJ Shadow in the building. What's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
Exhilarating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I haven't screamed at the TV and at a game like I did tonight in a long time.
Yeah.
But Captain Clutch, I was just saying yesterday on a live with someone else, man, we weren't even talking about the Knicks, but leadership is so important. You can only have one leader, and you have to have a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be clear who the leader is,
mm-hmm.
and the leader has to show you why he is the leader. And that's what you got tonight.
Right. What do the Knicks take from this series, Shuttle? What do they think from this series?
I think that sometimes, you could be on a hot streak. Let's say you win 15 games, then you lose to a team you quote unquote aren't supposed to lose to, and even though you don't want to really lose, you're like, all right, that's cool. That'll make sure we stay on track and stay locked in and stay focused. I think that as good as Boston is, I don't think there's a team in the playoffs that I've seen with more intensity than the Detroit Pistons.
Mm.
So I think the takeaway is that you bring the intensity that was required in this series, and you bring that against the Boston Celtics. You
Right.
also walk away with the mind frame of how unsuccessful you were against Detroit this season, and you leave that in the regular season, just as you were not successful against Boston. And it's 0-0 now. It's first one to win 4 games. So, hopefully those are two things that they take away going into this series: intensity and leaving regular season in the regular season.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. I feel you. Ron, the brother Ron is in the building. Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Glad you're healthy. Oh man, hell of a series. Even though the Knicks win it 4-2, it was a hell of a series. I predicted that the Knicks would win 4-2, but I thought it was going to be, a battle up until Game 4, and the Knicks would run away with it the last 2 games. But the Pistons gave the Knicks everything they could handle in this series. What do you think the Knicks take away from this series?
First off, let me just say what's up to all you fellas, man. Appreciate just being able to chop it up with you, Shuttle, Tony, Sim. Good to see y'all, and shout out to the chat.
No doubt.
Man, I'm really excited that the Knicks were able to win this series and be battle tested while it's happening. So I look at it like a very big positive. Not only did they have to go through the ringer of dealing with a team that's going to play them physical, right? Something they haven't really been used to a lot. I mean, that's a new thing. Honestly, physical play has been kind of away from the NBA, and teams like Houston and Detroit are bringing it back. So I think it's a really good thing. I think I honestly look at it like, and we thought that this might happen. It would help prepare them for the second round. I think that even though Boston technically is a better defensive team, I feel like what Detroit has done for the Knicks is they've been so suffocating with their defense that maybe playing Boston might even be like a little bit of a breath of fresh air. Like their offense might feel a little bit more free.
I agree with you. I think that when you play 6 games against that type of defense, right? And not only are you playing against that type of defense, but now it makes you have to step up defensively, and you've got to step up with your aggression and your defense and the speed at which you're closing out. You've got to do these things. When you go into the Boston series, your body's going to automatically start playing that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think the Knicks are going to go into that series with a different defensive mindset, different defensive habits. I don't want to say habits, a different defensive intensity, because they've been used to playing at this intensity and this level for 6 games. You know what I mean? And this series was way more intense than Orlando Boston series. Way more intense. You know what I mean? And the Knicks are going into that series with that type of intensity. You know what I mean? And it's going to be ramped up a little bit because they know who they're playing. You know what I mean? So I think, I think it has helped playing Detroit. I think has helped the Knicks going into that Boston series. There's still a lot of questions and a lot of concerns.
Yes, there are.
Right, a lot of questions and a lot of concerns about this team and the way that they're going to operate. Can they win playing that aggressive grind out style like they had to play against Detroit? We're going to find out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to find out. You take on Captain Clutch, Jaylen Brunson.
Dude, I mean, listen,
man.
when I was watching the game, I ain't gonna lie to you, there was a couple plays that I looked at Brunson. I'm like, what we doing? You know, come on, man. What we doing? And it's only a couple shots he took, like certain things that he pressed the issue a little bit, and I'm like, that's not the best shot, or we can make a better decision here. Or even the play when he was running up the court with Mitchell Robinson, and Mitch was waiting for the alley-oop, and he chose not to give him the alley, and he took the shot and he missed it. Like, that's a play. Give the ball to the big man. Let him do his thing. You see how effective it is against us. Why not do it? You know what I mean? So, like, certain things like that, I looked at it and I said, come on, man. We need you to do what you got to do, Jalen. But
you talking about giving it to Mitch?
Yeah, for the alley-oop when it was a 2-on-1.
I'm just checking.
No. Yeah. But the flip side of it too was, like, I'm going back and forth, me and my guy Craig just hitting me, blasting me with messages. You see this? I'm like, I got you, Craig. But let me tell you something. This is what you got to understand. It's team basketball. Yes, we want to get the assist totals. We want to get everybody involved. We're better when everybody gets involved. But Jaylen Brunson came out in this game and said, I'm trying to get Detroit up out of here. I'm going to do what I got to do to get Detroit up out of here. And I was not mad at him. I don't care that he took 32 shots. I don't care. Yeah, I don't care.
I care less.
Sim, one of the things that we've all been talking about is this Knicks team has not shown that thing that we want, that close them out, that killer instinct.
Yeah.
And Jaylen Brunson said tonight, I want these Detroit Pistons up out of here. I'm not mad at the dude. So let him go off.
Yeah. No doubt about that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he did what he had to do. And this is what we expect from him. You know what I mean? He played, he did what he had to do to make sure the team won. God knows Cat wasn't there. I got some choice words for that brother, man. For real. Cause come on. That's it. We're gonna get to him. But can Brunson, I mean, he's got a bum ankle now. Maybe he did something else to his leg the other night. Can he continue this level of play against Boston?
I don't see why not. The one thing about Jaylen Brunson, he's already shown us the dude is special. Whether you like him or not, whether you love his ISO basketball, whether he calls his number too many times, the dude is special. Came into the series 4 straight 30-point games. Only Michael Jordan has done it. He took a couple. He had a bad game. Then to close him out, he drops 40. A little 40 piece for y'all. Here, take that. Like, come on, man. Dude is special. He's gonna go into Boston. He's gonna still do what he needs to do, and I think it's gonna be a slugfest. I really think it's gonna be. I think now, after dealing with such the stifling defense, and once again, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this so everybody hears it out there. Detroit's defense is real, y'all. Okay. Mm-hmm. I looked at the numbers last night. They are 5th percentage point, like 5th as far as defense in the playoffs, but really they're 4th. Because as I was saying yesterday, guys, when you look at it, the Knicks were like 109.1 and Detroit was 109.2. But the Knicks are defending against Detroit with Kate Cunningham and some, other not as talented ensemble. And Detroit's dealing with the Knicks starting lineup. So you got to give them the nod. I would say they're 4th and the Knicks are 5th when you look at it like that. But you can't take anything away from their defense is stifling. They got some what I think that a lot of Knicks fans are underestimating is the heart and the effort. It's not just that they're playing good defense. They are everywhere. The Knicks are doing layups up and unders, and there's somebody on the other side waiting. Like, they are everywhere. So I think Boston really, it might be a slugfest. And the other thing too, this is the last thing I wanted to, chirp about Boston. Boston has an Achilles heel as well, guys. Yes, they do have 2 of the most talented players in basketball who can turn it on and hit big clutch shots as well. But they are a 3 dominant team. And when the 3 is not falling, they are a different basketball team. That's when you can get to them. If the Knicks can figure out a way to get them off that 3-point line and force them to beat you in the paint, force them to work harder for their baskets, They got a shot.
How's the Knicks perimeter defense?
Oh, it's terrible. But you know, I said if. I said if.
I can say, and you know, we weren't playing Boston, obviously, but I think the perimeter defense got better in this series.
It definitely looked better. It definitely looked better.
You know what I'm saying? You know, there were obviously moments when, you know, Boston shot well from the 3-point line, but you know, I think the Knicks recognized it and they started to close out a little harder. You know what I mean? They started making a conscious effort to get to that 3-point line and try to run them off the 3-point line. You know what I mean? You know, and they've got to take that into Boston.
Right.
Because if you don't take that into Boston, you know, you're asking to be eliminated early. You're begging to be eliminated early because, you know, that's all that Boston wants to do. You know what I mean? So I do think the Knicks got better closing out on that 3-point line in this series.
Well, and I was gonna say the one last thing you guys can get yours off, man. I also think Detroit, because of how intense they were defensively on the Knicks, I think Detroit made the Knicks better defensively. I think, you know, that whole thing that we've been looking for the Knicks, like what's the identity? Where are they? I'm not saying they're incredible, but I'm just saying like the Knicks have kind of been lackadaisical and like where's the defensive intensity? Where is it coming from? We get one good game of defensive intensity and then the next couple games. I'm talking about regular season Knicks. I think Detroit has picked up that intensity. I think the Knicks are ready to play defense now. Like I think they're locked in.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you in that sense. That defense won us this series more than offense, and we've seen some of our best defense in this series. But I mean, I don't know. Like to me, everything right now is like wishful thinking. You know, the best thing though is like what Shadow said. The regular season is the regular season. You know what I mean? It's the beginning of the series. It's 0-0. You know what I mean? But yeah. I don't know. I feel like, and maybe Brunson played the way he played today because we needed him to play that way. Like we obviously needed every bucket. You know what I mean? Down to the last one.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how far that gets us. You know what I mean? Moving forward. Like it's great. And every game is gonna be different. His clutch situations will be different. It may not be like this, but he need help. And we brought him help. And what the fuck? Yeah. Pardon
me. we brought him help. Let me get to a call. On the phone, we got Nick from Jersey. Nick, what's popping with you, man? I feel relieved. I feel relieved.
You can't hear him, son.
You can't hear him? I think I don't know. I can hear you, but they said they can't hear you. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, Nick. Let me see before I tell you to call back. See if I can get this. Nick, say something for me, please. Let's do it like this. We'll put you here. All right, go ahead now. I can hear you, but they can't hear you.
For Josh Hart, went up for a dunk, fell on his back, and then rather than, you know, be crippled, he rushes back and gets the defensive rebound. I thought that was unbelievable at the end of the game right there. Yeah. That was a huge momentum shift. And then, of course, Bridges tip in. Great win.
Yeah, you guys can hear him now? Great. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that, Nick. Can you say that again, please?
I thought that play where Josh Hart, this was during the 11-1 run, at the end of the game, under 3 minutes, Josh Hart goes up for a dunk, and they block it, and he falls like a full 10 feet on his back. And, you know, any other guy would have been out, would have been crippled. And he rushes back, on defense and grabs a defensive rebound over about 3 Pistons. It was just an incredible momentum shift right there. Josh Hart is just unbelievable in these moments. And
Yeah.
I thought Bridges with the tip in, all that was great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Bridges with the tip in. I mean that tip in right there. I mean, that might have saved the game.
Absolutely.
That tip in might have saved the game. You know what I mean? Big time. Without that tip in, I don't know.
Yeah.
Bridges,
That saved the game.
He had a great game, Bridges, and the Knicks finally get to face Boston. The last 2 seasons, the Knicks petered out in the second round right before they got a chance to face Boston, and we finally get that matchup now against Boston. So we get to see where we are against the defending champions, and probably the best team in the league. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. Let's go.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm excited for it too. You know what I mean? I'm happy that we got out of this. I'm relieved. I feel like I just left the bathroom. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
I ain't gonna lie.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? I'm relieved that we got out of this series. You know what I mean? I have nothing but good things to say about Detroit. Relieved that we got out of this series, and I'm looking forward to the Boston series.
Yo, they played tough.
Made us better. The Pistons made us better for playing that hard. So here we go.
Without a doubt. Definitely. All right, Nick. I appreciate it, man.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Take care.
So Sim, he touched on Josh Hart. Is it okay to pivot to Josh Hart right now?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Josh Hart is a very much maligned player because he doesn't provide enough offense. He should come off the bench, start Mitch. There's been a lot of talk, not in the positive for Josh Hart. For a lot of this season. There are people that recognize his all around play, but I think when you get to a time like now, you get to the playoffs,
Mhm.
like you see who and what this guy is, because I ain't gonna call no names right this moment, but some players look like they ain't have no heart out there.
Mm.
Some players look like they ain't have the heart. Like they was nervous, they was scared, and they didn't know what to do with the ball. Not Josh Hart. Not Josh Hart.
Right.
He got his 4th foul. He was able to keep cool. He had the block shot, defense, rebounds, hustle plays, 1-man fast break. Like this guy is the absolute heart and soul of the team. Like you got Captain Clutch, but then you got the heart and soul. Like I like to akin it to Steph Curry and Draymond Green. You know what I mean? And that's what we have with Brunson and Hart. And you just can't undervalue a player that just leaves it all out on the floor and sets the stage for the rest of the team to do the same, and I don't know, man. It's like I can't say enough in support of Josh Hart, and I'm just glad this guy's on the team, man, because you have to have a player like this guy, and if he's not playing in the game, it's going to be lacking and it's going to be extremely noticeable.
Yeah, and Josh Hart gets there's a lot of up and down feelings about Josh Hart with Knicks fans. You know what I'm saying? When he has a bad game, it's like, oh, the guy can't score. We need to get him out of the starting lineup. We need to have somebody who can score, blah, 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 blah. When he has a game like he had tonight, 13 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, everybody loves what he does. You know what I mean? I love what Josh Hart does. I am one of those people. I do feel like we can utilize him better by maximizing him off the bench. You know what I'm saying? But it's not because of his play. I just feel like it's a better lineup construction. You know what I mean?
If he had someone better on the team, but currently there is no one better on the team to put in his place.
I don't necessarily think it has to be better though.
Well, when I say better,
I think it could be a better fit.
A better fit.
Fit wise in the starting lineup, I mean, I still believe that you could put Precious in there, and it could it could he's starting in that spot. You get a little bit more length, and then you have Josh Hart be one of them guys coming off the bench to provide
I
that boost.
I
I
gotta
still think that can work.
I gotta admit, if you go back to the videotape, Warner Wolf style, man, I was saying Precious at the beginning of the season.
Mhm.
Preseason, I was definitely saying Precious. Yeah, I would prefer him in the starting lineup, but then he got hurt and he missed so many games and never truly really got in a consistent rotation with the team. And
Yeah.
once the team started to have so much success with the lineup that they were having, it almost just didn't make sense to go back. Then Mitch comes back. You want to get some time with Mitch at power forward. So, it's just kind of just is what it is at this point. But I think that's a next season conversation in terms of
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
bringing somebody in. But at this point, we are where we are, and Boston's got some bigs though. So maybe Hart will see a few less minutes, and maybe Precious will see the floor. Maybe Mitch, and you get some twin towers in the Celtics series.
Yeah, no doubt. I got my man Silk Sutton on the line. Silk, thank you for calling in as usual. Give me your take on tonight's game, man. Your thoughts on tonight's game. We're about to get into this conversation about Cat.
Yeah. Well,
knock me
I guess
out.
you wait for me to call in about Cat, right?
I'll wait for you to call in.
Because I'm doing a double dream. I'm doing a double woosah tonight. This is one of them games. What up, fellas? Sim, Tony, DJ Shuttle, Big Ron in the house. What's going on, fellas?
Yeah.
I don't know. My boy, I'm a Cat. I love Cat, man. But these past two games, hell, Cat came in small, yo. I don't want to say this. I was preaching Cat fadeaway the last time we talked.
Mm-hmm.
But he was missing in action. It seemed like when Wingstop is scoring with Brunson, Cat ain't scoring. When Cat and Brunson scoring, Wingstop ain't scoring. We can never get all these dudes at the same time just blowing people out like Boston do. Boston can have all five guys and popping shots all over the place. We get 3 out of 4.
Man.
Depending on who's hot.
Man. I don't know. Cat frustrates
Maybe
me.
we need another year.
Cat.
Maybe we just need another year to get our routine together, because it seems like when Brunson and OG and Brunson going, Cat ain't going. When Cat and Brunson going, OG and McKell ain't going.
Karl Anthony Towns frustrates me a lot.
Yeah.
He just frustrates me. His play. Like, we need an inside presence. We have Karl Anthony Towns, and I feel like we need an inside presence. I've been saying it since I've really watched him play with the Knicks. Because when he was in Minnesota, I didn't really focus in on his game, but he'll post up against guys that he knows he's stronger than. But when the game starts getting tough, he fades away from the post.
And he floats. That's the thing I don't get.
Floating out to the 3-point line.
When he's doing the pick and roll with Brunson, roll to the basket sometimes. Don't always roll out. Don't always roll to the foul line. You're a 3-point shooter. You're going to roll out to the 3-point line. Give him space. He'll roll out right next to Brunson.
I mean,
maybe they just need another year together. Maybe they just need the other year.
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. It just frustrates me. And I'm okay with having a 3-point shooting big man. But when you have the ability to post, somebody's got to teach him how to use his lower body. You know what I'm saying? So that he can establish position, because he struggles establishing position. You know what I mean? But when you have the skill that he has, you should be able to. He has the ability to score, to be a double, triple threat guy. You know what I'm saying? Score in the post, score, knock down threes, and do some work in the mid range. You know what I mean? But when it gets tough, he shies away from the post play. You know what I'm saying? And starts looking to just stay out to the 3-point line. You know what I mean? And when we need somebody that can just get inside and hit somebody in the chest, he's not going to do it, and that bothers me.
Right.
That really
And
bothers me about him. And yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And when he has it going, he's chirping and he's throwing fingers in the air and all of this, but when he doesn't have it going, he doesn't man up. That's how I feel about him, and it bothers me.
I know. I like Cap, but he frustrates me too on something he does. But really, since what we need on this team that we don't got this year is a reliable six man. Deuce, I hate to say it, Deuce ain't it. Deuce got the numbers, the plus minuses when he's in the game. Plus minuses are good. But everything else I see as a reliable six man, regular season or playoff, Deuce ain't it, and we don't got it on this team. So unless all five of our guys are balling 25 points a game, we have trouble finishing people off. Because when Brunson comes out the game or other guys come out the game, the six man ain't there to carry us until they come back in the game. I see the time we are hot against this team all series long. We get up to 14. 14 is the magic number. And then it stop right there. We can never get that fucking to 20 and 25. We stop at 14 and they come back and knock it down to 5.
Yeah.
And this is the game was opposite. First quarter and third quarter, we were balling instead of second quarter and fourth.
Yeah.
So first quarter and third quarter, we put up the plus 30 points. The second quarter and fourth quarter, we struggling. Because why? Brunson ain't in the game. The other guys who scoring ain't in the game. And the bench is coming in, and we don't have nobody who can give us a consistent 15 points a game. That's what we're missing this year. That's what we've been missing all year. Cam ain't it. Deuce ain't it. Sham ain't it. And I know you love Precious, but Precious ain't it.
Well,
I love Precious.
Well, I don't love Precious
finish.
to give us 15 points a game. Yeah.
But he can't finish. That's the only reason why Tibbs is on Hart candy. Because Precious at the rim, as big as he is, can't finish. He be missing floated air ball to the rim, missing layup. Unless he can run on you and dunk on you, that's all he got.
Yeah. I mean, but his job is to play some defense and get the dirty buckets. And like the Pistons, the way they use Paul Reed, right? They use him as that kind of guy, get the clean up buckets, play defense,
do the dirty work,
hit you around, foul Mitch,
Clean up man.
Be that type of guy for you.
And my boy Mitch, I don't know what's going on. They throwing him past. Maybe they throwing the passes too fast for Mitch. He don't expect the passes coming in, and they throw right by his head.
I mean,
oh, come on.
Mitch ain't ready yet for that. He's just getting in there. He ain't ready
I'm
for
just
it.
going next year. I'm letting you know, Leon saying we need an offensive backup center. I don't think Mitch is going to be here next year.
We need.
He ain't showing that dominant rebounding that he did 2 years ago, and he's not really scoring, and he's a hack of Mitch threat in the playoff. I think Leon's going to get. Honestly, I hate to do it, but if the Lakers would give us Mitch for Rui Hachimura,
they're not doing that.
Yo, that's crazy. So I sent somebody that exact trade today. And I was like, man, if the Lakers would do it as bad as they need a center, I'm all for that, to slide him in as the starting power forward. That's definitely allows Hart to come off the bench and be a key cog off the bench and gives some better balance.
You think the Lakers would give up Rui?
I think that they need I think they need a center. I think they need a center terribly.
Who's a runner? Who do alley-oops with Luka? That's what they need. A shot blocking runner who can do alley-oops. They don't trust that other guy on it.
Mitch would be more valuable to them than Ryu is.
Right.
I don't know.
So you give me that? Before I go?
Yeah.
We got Boston, so we got Boston. Let's stay focused.
Huh?
Yeah.
We got Boston right now, though. Let's stay focused.
I'm with
Yeah,
Boston. I'm ready for Boston.
yeah,
I ain't
we
scared of
gonna
Boston.
get to
I'm
them.
just worried about our bench. We ain't got no bench scoring.
Well, I mean,
And
we
when
not,
I got
but that's not going to change for the next series, though.
I know.
We
That's
stuck with
what
it.
make me scared. We gonna probably battle with Boston. We gonna hang with Boston because Boston is physical as these dudes. So maybe Cat could bully a little bit more with these against Boston than against these dudes. But the bench,
Oh no,
when Brunson or OG or McCall sit on the bench, is our bench gonna give us anything? 10, 12 points, give us something. Deuce, I don't know what's up with Deuce.
Deuce is going to step up at some point. I still feel like Deuce is
man. We
up.
gotta get Deuce a babysitter because maybe he got that new kid. He's up all night. He ain't put up the shot. He's sleepy. He did everything he's so
Deuce is going to step up.
Deuce missed 3-point shot.
I think he's going to step up.
Hey, Silk, I was telling Tony before the playoffs started that maybe DeLon Wright should be getting the minutes ahead of Deuce. I mean, I said that before this series even started. What you think about that?
Tibbs is a loyalist. He's not going to do that to Deuce. He's not going to bench Deuce for somebody who hardly plays. You got to see that in the regular season for Tibbs to put you on the bench and do that. He's not going to do that for you all season long, and then in the playoffs, he's going to bench you. He ain't do that for no player.
We'll see.
He'll ride or die with you.
The one thing I'll say though about playing against Boston, you need guys with longer arms to play against Jaylen Brown, to play against Jason Tatum, so you can throw different looks at them. You know what I mean? Yep, we got OG, we got Mikal Bridges, but you might need another guy that can switch off with those guys.
And that's what I was saying. If you put him in with Campaign, now you don't have this two small guard lineup, which is not going to work against Boston. The right allows better switchability. That was the same word I used when we talked about it. That's not even a word, but I made it up. You got to have that switchability. And DeLon Wright gives it. He got playoff experience. And in the time that he did play this year for the Knicks, he gave some valuable minutes. And he's a vet. It's not like you got some minutes from Kolick and you don't know if he really is about that life yet. You know what I mean? Wright has already proven it in the playoffs. Just last year in the playoffs, he actually played very well. So I don't know, man. Like Deuce has not done enough to not earn a seat on a bench right now.
Nah, that's true. That's true. Let me get to a couple of super chats. Still stay on the line. Let me get to a couple of super chats.
All right, fellas.
Yeah. Jason Benjamin, thank you for the super chat. He said the Bridges dunk on Cade was tough. What a game. No doubt. And Mikal Bridges came up big in this, in tonight's game. He definitely came up huge. He got the tip in. He got, that dunk was big. It surprised me. That dunk surprised me, but you know what I mean?
He had about 3 acrobatic finishes.
Yeah. He definitely came up big in this game, man. Shout out to Mikal Bridges. We'll talk about him a little bit more after we finish talking about Cat. I still want to talk about Cat. Brooklyn Butch, thank you for the super chat. He said we beat 2 teams tonight, the league and Detroit. Worst officiating ever. Let's go Knicks. Yeah, the entire series was bad officiating. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if the series was too physical for the referees, to really manage. Was it? I mean, we got professional, veteran referees out there, but there was some terrible, all series long. There was some terrible, terrible calls. You know what I mean?
When we heard Tony Brother was officiating the game, he said, "Are we going to Game 7?" He thought there was no chance.
I mean,
he was going to be able to get a good game with something.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the foul on OG when he threw Dennis Schroeder to the floor. I mean, Schroeder. I mean, that was a foul. Did you see like his body, the way his body was positioned? You know what I'm saying? That was a foul on Schroeder. You know what I mean? It was bad officiating all the way around. Parrish Duggar, thank you for the super chat. He said some clown fans want to win their way. I mean, I ain't gonna say nothing because it sounds like a lot of fans want to win their way. Everybody has their philosophy and their style. I just want to win. I don't care whose way it is. Just keep winning. Jason Benjamin, thank you again for the super chat. He said, what the hell happened to Deuce? Just talking about Deuce. He needs to wake up for Boston. You're right. He's got to wake up. You know what I'm saying? The Knicks need Deuce. And I thought he was going to have a decent game tonight. He started off decently in the first half, and then he can't find that rhythm. I don't think Boston closes out the way that Detroit does. I feel like the Knicks on their 3-point on their shooting, they're not going to feel like they have to rush it as much. They may be like Detroit closed out hard and fast, and there was always people coming at you. You know what I'm saying? And that would make you rush your shot. And Deuce has a hitch in his shot. You know what I'm saying? When he gets it up top here, there's a little bit of a hitch. And, I think against Boston, maybe he's a little bit more relaxed. You know what I mean? And hopefully that shot can start dropping.
That's why I think with Deuce, he has to learn something other than the mid-range. He got to have a little baby floater. Because when they rush him and he tried to do that mid-range, he still got that long hitch. He needs something quick when they drive in and quick hit him.
Yeah.
Until he learned that, he's going to always struggle. And the thing with DeLon Wright, I worry about DeLon Wright against smart defenders like Boston because he can't dribble to his left. He's like Jaylen Brunson. He can't go left with his dribble. Everything is to the right. And those guys would know that and will cut him off and will make him pick up his dribble.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he had a handle either way and his size and him still in the regular season, if he wasn't getting stuck going left, I think Tibbs would put him in more. But Tibbs saw that this guy has trouble when somebody pushes his left hand with his right hand and make him go left. He struggled. And that made Tibbs, it don't take much to make Tibbs nervous. That made Tibbs nervous. So that's why you really haven't seen him that much.
Yeah.
And with Boston, they smart defenders. They're going to make him go left.
Okay.
Because they know he's on left hand.
It almost sound like you trying to tell me that Deuce got a good handle or something.
No, but Deuce could go a little left more than I think. DeLon Wright actually pick up his dribble when somebody make him go left and stop dribbling. He don't keep dribbling. He stops and pick up the ball and pass to somebody.
Well, put him on the right side of put him on the left side of the floor. No, but look, put him on the left side of the floor. He'll go right.
I like his size, his rebound. He gets steals. When I started saying he's having trouble going. They pushing him to go left, and he dribbled 2 times to pick up the ball. Like, what you doing? Keep dribbling. Don't stop. So he made me nervous with that. But I give it a shot to see if they got some wrinkle that they can do. He ain't got to go left all the time.
Yeah.
Because Deuce is struggling.
Yeah.
And Shaman ain't even put up a 3-point shot.
Shaman's not touching the floor. He's not touching the floor. Shaman's not touching the floor unless it's an emergency or a blowout.
Yeah. Fellas, I'm glad we got this win, because I didn't want to go to Game 7.
I'm with it. Yeah, me neither.
We don't do good in Game 7.
We had to stay away from Game 7. Yes. We had to stay away from that. Yeah, no doubt. So, appreciate you, man.
But let's take this first game in Boston and put Boston on nervous street.
Yeah. That's what we got to try to do, man. Shout out to Silk. Appreciate you for calling in. Once a Nick, always a Nick. Thank you for the super chat. He said, Brunson said no Game 7. No, Brunson wasn't having it. No doubt about it. Brunson was not. He said no Game 7. We got to finish this tonight. He knew. And, well, I don't know. Probably that series, what's tonight? Thursday? That series will probably start Saturday or Sunday.
Should be Saturday at 8.
Oh, they already announced it? Saturday at 8?
No, but I did the math.
Oh. I mean, they're gonna put that in prime time, so I don't know, 3, 6, something like that, maybe. Paris Douglas says, Sim, if you don't tell these non-ball players to knock it off, Brunson's job is to win it, period. Stop the cap. That's all true. That's what Brunson is here to do.
Knicks Celtics, Monday night.
Oh, it's Monday night?
Monday night.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
it says time to be determined.
Okay. So the Knicks get a little bit of a break.
Cinco de Mayo. Let's do it.
Relax. They get a little bit of a
like
break.
that.
They can relax a little bit with that. But yeah, that's Brunson's job to do exactly what he did tonight, like it or not. You know what I'm saying? When it comes, when you get in playoff time, and the type of game that was, the type of series that was, we needed Brunson to do exactly what he did. Uncle Fulio said New York Knicks win and it's sunshine and rainbows again. I told the chat I was not worried about Detroit. You're lying. You're lying. You're very much lying. Come on. There's no way you wasn't worried. Come on, Uncle Fulio. Don't do that. Experience or lack thereof cost Detroit 2 or 4 games, including tonight. Boston is a different animal. New matchup, new game plan. Boston in 5.
Ooh.
Come on, man.
Ooh.
Uncle Fulio. And then he said, sorry for picking Boston. Again, thank you for the super chat. Sorry for picking Boston. Just keeping it real. FYI, a post playing big is not necessary to win a chip today. Cat's ability to dominate outside in is an asset. Matchup nightmare at the 5. Feed him. I don't know if it's going to be a matchup nightmare at the 5 because Al Horford can defend him out. Cat's not fast. It's not like Cat's going to blow past Al Horford. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's going to be a nightmare matchup. I don't know. I mean, do we run a great pick and pop the way that Boston runs a great pick and pop for Kristaps Porzingis? No, we don't. You know what I mean? I think that Cat would be more effective if he was a little stronger in the post, especially against, those strong, tough guys, the Paul Reeds, those guys like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Porzingis is going to be defending him. So, I mean, going from Detroit to Boston, in this next series, I think that, yeah, KP definitely, has the long arms, has the height, but I think there's room for him to exploit him both outside and inside.
I agree.
I don't think Porzingis is going to be guarding him.
You don't?
I think Holiday is going to be guarding him.
It might be. It could be.
And I think they're going to have Porzingis on like a Josh Hart where he could roam and be that help defender
and be that help block, that shot blocker. Yeah. I agree with what you're saying, Tony. I think they might put Jrue Holiday on him.
That's the type of creativity you get with Boston.
But I'm sorry, is this the Cat segment? Because that's part of my problem.
Let's do it,
Cat, right? You
could
put a Jrue Holiday on him. You could put Tobias Harris on him and play small ball, and you're not looking at that as an insult. You know what I mean? You're not looking at that as an advantage. And part of the thing with Cat is he's so skilled that he takes the easy way out 9 times out of 10 instead of fighting for a basket or fighting to. I know you say he got weak legs or whatever, but he's not gonna try. He's not gonna try to bully his way into the post. He know he could get any shot that he wants from pretty much anywhere on the floor. So he's gonna take the bailout shot, which for him might still be a good shot. You know what I mean? But he still got to be aggressive to take that shot.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight, earlier today, Sim, you said you was arguing with Craig, I think, about him having the green light. I think he does have the green light as well. I think the problem is, or what it looked like to me, he had PTSD from his last stint with Thibodeau as the coach. Because if you looked at when he took that bad long-range 3-point shot, the same shot that he made at least 2 or 3 times in this series, and Tibbs yelled at him. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many. I think he might have took 2 shots after that. Like, I don't know what got in his head, but after he took that bad shot and got reprimanded, you know what I mean? Maybe, and I don't know, maybe it was whatever Tibbs said. Maybe he felt like, I made the shot 2 times in the series, but he was just passive after that. He wasn't looking to be aggressive at all. I don't know what it was.
I don't know, like Cat. I mean, there's just some decision making things. Like the end of the half, right? You know, he gets the rebound. I think it's 5 or 6 seconds left. You know, instead of finding the guard, you know, he wants to advance it. And I don't know what he was thinking or where he was going. He was just rushing. You know, kicks it to OG. OG's out of bounds.
Yeah, he should have shot the three. Passed
You
up
know
the
what I'm
three.
saying? You know, and it's like those decisions. You know, when you make good decisions, you get grace. If you make bad decisions, you get less grace. You know what I'm saying?
And
And
that's what I
sometimes,
think his problem is.
yeah,
My bad. But I think he doesn't feel like he should get the reprimand. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't think he can take the reprimand. But when you make it, you know what I mean? Yeah, you get grace. When you take a bad shot and don't make it, and it becomes a detriment, you got to be able to shake that off and keep going. That's the thing. Like, I feel like it got in his head, and then he was just like, all right, well, I'm not going to be aggressive. That's him being aggressive, taking that deep three.
yeah. I mean, you know, he's got to, you know, if you're gonna be one of the primary, you're gonna be a prime time player. You got to be able to take it from the coach. You don't get yelled at. You know what I'm saying? The leaders take a lot of the flack for the rest of the team. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get screamed at sometimes. You just gotta take it. You know, and wipe it off and keep going. You know what I mean? And make the same mistake again. The coach ain't gonna take you out for that long because he needs you out there on the floor. You know what I'm saying? If you got to make the same mistake again, sometimes you got to do that. You know what I mean? You know, you just got to ball. And if that's the case, you know, he's sulking because he got yelled at, or not sulking, but, you know, fades away because he doesn't want to get yelled at, then that's an issue. You know what I'm saying? Because you just got to be able to take it, hear what the coach is saying, and make a better decision next time, but keep playing tough. You know, and those are the things, you know, that I don't know. It bothers me. It bothers me. Canberra, thank you for the super chat. He said this series is going to be frustrated. It's going to frustrate Knicks fans when Drew is locking up Cat in the post. Hey, Tony, you know your camera's off. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, my bad.
I don't know. There's so many things that don't, you know, some things that even don't pertain to basketball that bother me with Cat. I'm not even gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it does pertain to basketball, but it doesn't as well. Like, I don't know. You know, there's the fake tough stuff that bothers me. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem genuine, doesn't seem authentic. I don't know, and it bothers me. Like, to me, and I support him 100%. He's not my favorite player. I'm not gonna lie. I support him 100%, but when you say Fugazi, I feel like he's the definition of that word.
That's
just me. That's just me. He bothers me, man. The dude bothers me.
That's a strong word in the Knicks community. That word has history in the Knicks universe.
Yeah,
so,
you know.
I don't like that word.
I don't know. Something about him that bothers me. You know, I support him. I always want him to do well. I'm a cheer for him. I'm a root for him, but it bothers me.
We get it, Sam. We know. You know, and listen, I think I think as fans of the Knicks and fans of Cat and wanting this team to do well and be successful, it's tough for us to say certain things because, you know, people run with stuff. But Cat is he's got something about him. You know, there's a word for it. I can't say it, and I won't say it. So don't even ask in the chat. It just
oh my god! Oh my god!
Something about him. But on the flip side, I you know, it's one of those. I'll say it with Cat is one of those things you don't really notice as an opposing team, right? Because there's some players in the league that you're like, oh, I can't stand that dude unless he's on my team. Like Campaign is that way, or you know, there's guys like that, like Beasley. like you can't stand the dude unless he's on your team. Cat is not necessarily the same thing. Like he's not like the pest and like you can't stand him. It's not like that. It's a different thing about Cat that is just it's not.
But
it ain't.
I gotta say though, Ron, even though I agree, he doesn't fall into those categories. When the whole thing happened with him and Jimmy Butler, I don't know, I was too intrigued and I had to study it. I had to watch it. I was watching game tape prior to that of the team with them together. I watched him afterwards to see how he was playing without Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler's my kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? He's like, him, Josh Hart, like peas of a pod, guys that will be in a foxhole together. And, so when I see a guy like Jimmy Butler talking about you, like, all right, I'm looking like, all right, well, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. So prove to me that he is not true in what he's saying. So I don't know. I was intrigued to look and see what it was with this guy and make Jimmy, talk about him that way.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems a little better now than what he was then. But I just think that he's just like he's talented, but he's not it.
Mm.
And I think they can both things can be true. And it's the playoffs, man. Like you got to be more careful with the ball. Every possession counts. You get into the second half, you got to lead. You think all of the fancy passes you did. Game 15 in the season. This ain't really the time for all that. Like,
right.
Be more strategic. Be more careful with the rock, and make the basic pass, and take the simple shot. You know what I mean? And that's why Brunson kind of felt like, all right, I got to just do it tonight because, last game I wasn't on, and got to give respect to Thompson, man. Like this kid has got some amazing defense, and Brunson said it. This he's a really good defender, and as good as Holiday is, I don't think today that Holiday is a better defender or Derek White than Thompson is. So I'm hoping that also is part of preparation for the Boston series, and Jalen can get out there and continue to be hot.
Yeah, because Thompson was definitely dead. He that last three, Brunson was able to shake loose, with the help of a screen. But yeah, he was, he gave Jaylen Brunson everything he could handle out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He definitely, threw some defense out there on Brunson.
And vice versa, though. You know what I mean? Like, it was hard for him to stay on the floor, stay out of foul trouble, throughout the series. The real standout to me was when he found the offensive game. That was Detroit's best game, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, we had no answer for him being efficient. You know what I mean? I think we was banking on him being inefficient and dealing with him, his mistakes, his turnovers, things of that nature. But he got a great future. Detroit as a whole, man, they gonna be scary.
No doubt
moving forward.
Yeah, but Cat tonight, 10 shots, 10 shot attempts, 4 for 10 from the field, 10 points, 15 rebounds.
I was gonna say he did rebound the ball, and I thought he did lock in a little bit better when he stopped taking the shots. Like it looked like he said, "I'm gonna focus on this." You know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean, you gotta love, the 10 rebound. I mean, the 15 rebounds, definitely needed those. 2 assists, 2 steals. I do like, especially in the beginning of the game, in the third quarter, he was receiving that ball, 3-point line, mid post, 3-point, high post, 3-point line. And then they was getting Brunson moving, so they had Brunson more off the ball so that he could cut to the basket, so they could get him going to the basket without having to constantly go one-on-one against Thompson or Schroeder. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was a nice little wrinkle. And I thought Towns did a good job finding Brunson in those, cutting to the basket. I think we had more guys flying. Even Brunson was finding guys off his penetration, cutting to the basket. We have more guys going back door. You know what I mean? So that was good to see, and it was good to see, Cat be utilized that way, and him embrace being utilized that way. You know what I mean? And finding people cutting to the basket. So, that's a little piece that if we can, hopefully we can use that against Boston. You know what I'm saying? To get Brunson off the ball a little bit, moving a little bit more to the basket. He ended up still having to be shifty on that ankle and all of that in order, to win the game. But, to be able to, get some looks at the basket going downhill without having to create his own path going downhill was definitely, good to see. So I can shout out Cat for that. But we need that brother to step up. 10 shots in a game like this just doesn't get it.
But I gotta say though, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he played well, but I'm gonna be harder on you if you shot 5 for 19 than I'm gonna be on you if you only shot 4 for 10, and it's not like you were nervous and you were passing the ball up. If you're not like getting the ball in advantageous positions to score or what have you, I mean, what we can say is he wasn't shooting shots he had no business taking. He wasn't, doing too much with the ball in terms of just trying to get his shots off. So do we need to do as a team? Does the team collectively need to figure out what to do to get him the ball in better scoring positions, take advantage of what look like possible mismatches? Yes, and yes, absolutely, without a doubt. But for him to still get 15 boards, shoot a respectable 4 of 10, only shot 1 3-pointer, which means he's not, just overdoing it, chucking it from deep because he can't get nothing close to the basket. Listen, 4 for 10, I'm gonna respect that because that means you're not doing too much to take us out of the game. At least you keeping it here. Bridges went for 20 plus, OG went for 20 plus, and you got 15 boards. And when Mitch wasn't scoring, I always said it's okay if you don't score, but 8 or 9 rebounds is not enough when you don't score. So, for Towns to be the threat that he is, still get 15 boards. I think he got 2 blocks. I mean, I'm not gonna be too hard on him because I know this team from Brunson to coaching staff don't really make it a focal point to exercise, getting Cat the rock where they need to get it to him at.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And
That's true.
collectively, like two things. If you look at it, if Bridges had Towns game tonight and vice versa, then collectively it'd be like, yo, Bridges hasn't showed up the series. You know what I mean? So this is really like maybe two games out the 6 where Cat kind of didn't show up offensively, and McCall's stepped up in his place. This was by far McCall's best game. You know what I mean? Like he had Cat type production tonight offensively. So for this series, maybe like somebody said earlier, maybe we only need 2 out of the 4. You know what I mean? To kind of step up offensively to get things going. Moving forward, though, I think we're gonna need all guys, all cylinders. You know what I mean?
Well, one thing that someone said is that Cat needs to demand the ball, especially when Brunson is on the floor, is off the floor. Unfortunately, between Deuce's non-ability to run the offense and Cam's, more of a scoring point guard, shooter, gets his own shot, not really a coordinator himself, there's really nobody to make sure he gets the ball. Bridges is not good with the ball. OG's not good with the ball. There's nobody to make sure Cat can do that, which is part of my argument again for DeLon Wright. I think he would be better at that. And I'm not saying put Kolek in, but when people are screaming for Kolek, this is why, because he's a little bit better at kind of setting other people up to get them the ball in offensive, positions to score. But Cat, you know, he can't dribble the ball up and get his own shot. Like somebody has to be good at doing that. And the Knicks, when Brunson goes out, don't have a threat with the ball. It's like I'm watching it, I'm screaming at the TV. It's like, yo, go to the hoop, do something, somebody, anybody, scream. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of hard to watch when Brunson's out the game. And yeah, I mean, it's easy to say demand it, but if they can't get it to you, you can demand it all you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's definitely true. But I think when you command position, you know what I'm saying? When you're as talented as Cat is and you command position, you know, they're gonna look for you there if you're consistently doing it. You know what I'm saying? I think that. You know, I don't know, man. I got issues with I got issues with the guy.
I got issues with Deuce's ball handling. I got issues with Cam's ability to get other people involved. I get issues with those things. Brunson comes out the game. This guy it's a valid point. Yo, Brunson's out the game. Cat, take advantage. It's a lot easier when you're somebody that is like, let's say, a campaign. You bring the ball up so campaign can get himself involved in the game. He doesn't have to wait for somebody to get him the ball. He can bring it up. He can go take his own shot. And oftentimes, that's exactly what he does.
Yeah.
Maybe you would think he would be looking for Karl Anthony Towns a little bit more instead of doing that. But that's not what happens.
But sometimes Cat is himself just like floating in the corner, you know, floating, watching, you know, just sitting here and watching, you know, these guys do whatever instead of like, hold on, let me get the ball. Okay, you come get the ball. I'm coming down here now. Give me the ball. You know what I'm saying? I think like if that was Shaq, right? Shaq would be, what the hell are you doing? Give me the fucking ball. Excuse my language.
Mm-hmm. I've
Right?
never heard him curse on this show before.
You know what I mean?
Sim is the Rock Him a podcast. Yeah. Sim is the Rock Him of the podcast.
I think that was the third time. Not including the stoop though. Not including the stoop.
Yeah,
that's a different story. But you know, I think but you know, it is frustrating, and I get it. You know, it's good the Tibbs style and how he's got the guys out there running. Sometimes it doesn't dictate getting the ball to Cat as much as it should, but it's also got to be like, if that's the case, we still need you, big fella. Cat, you got to demand the basketball. Talk to your teammates. Yo, and also move. Because I think the other thing is Cat picks his spots. He picks his areas. He stays available to do a pick and roll if needed, but he stays in one spot, like one area. If he moved around a little bit more, I think he would be in a better position to get the ball just because of how the Knicks are moving. Because obviously when the defense is clamping down, they do move the ball. He just kind of is stationary in certain. And the other thing about Cat, we all know this. This is the same thing that Knicks fans hated about Julius Randle. He just complains too much. Everything's a foul, and some things ain't a foul. Like, you just go out there and play, put your head down and get it done. Like Josh Hart starts to do that a little bit. I'm like, come on, Josh, come on, man. Like, but I get it. Josh Hart is a little bit more limited offensively, so I can understand him complaining a little bit more. Not for Cat. Cat can do everything on the basketball court offensively. He doesn't need to be complaining as much.
Yeah. On the line, I got Uncle Fulio. Uncle Fulio,
what's up, fellas?
What's going on?
What's up, fellas? I cannot believe you guys.
Here we go with the foolishness. Here we go with the foolishness.
The tomfoolery.
Yeah, the Josh foolery. The Josh foolery.
First of all, salute to the MBK family. Salute to the chat. I know people are probably wondering, oh, you sent 2 super chats in. Well, why are you calling in? It's kind of a waste. No, one, this is family. We talk about MBK family all day. Number one, and number two, I play poker and chess, right? So I wanted to put that super chat out there and then hear what Sim had to say so I could call and elaborate. So let me just get that out the way.
Let's do it.
You're right. Okay. I'm happy with the win. Jaylen Brunson, Captain Clutch, we already know who he is at the end of the game. Sam, you said that I wasn't worried about Detroit. You said that I was worried about Detroit. Absolutely not. Absolutely. Because in the playoffs, experience matters. Like I said,
it does.
2 of the 4 games that they lost came down to them having lack of experience. Amon Thompson getting the fouls at the end of the game. Tonight, you got Beasley mishandling the ball, just like Gary Trent did from Milwaukee. That stuff matters. And I think that Detroit had a lack of experience, and they were very young. You know, and it's understandable. Young team, they won less than 20 games last year.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks were going to win this series. I had no doubt about that. Okay, so I just want to get that out the way.
So with 2 minutes left, the Knicks down 7, you wasn't worried?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I was not worried because of who we had on the floor.
Are you saying the game or the series?
Both. I was not worried. Tony, we spoke about this. I was not worried about Detroit. Whether the Knicks won this series in 4, 5, 6, or 7, I just think that it would not have concerned me either way because Detroit's a tough team. Tom Thibodeau plays a slower style of basketball, particularly come playoff time. The games are going to be close, which every game was close. And I just think that the experience factor matters in these type of close games. So I just think that the Knicks were going to win this series no matter what. I was not concerned at all whatsoever. Okay. That being said, whether they won in 4, 5, 6, or 7 games, it would not change my outlook on what's going to happen in the following series against Boston. I think Boston has too much for us. Okay, to elaborate on that, they have Brown. They can be able to run the offense.
Josh, before you continue, and I don't want you to lose your train of thought. I'm sorry, I had to just say this.
No, I'm not gonna lose it. Go ahead. I'm not gonna lose it.
If the Knicks lost tonight, I think they'd lose the series, brother. I was scared. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was worried. I was just saying.
I was worried. If the Knicks lost tonight, I was worried.
Well, listen. You guys know this about me already. I speak fluent Knicks fan. Of course, it's hyperbole, right? The Knicks lose a game, it's the end of the world. We win a game, it's like, oh, sunshine and rainbows. That's why I put that out there. I personally was not concerned at all. But like I said, if the Knicks would have won this series and if they swept them 5 games, 6 games, or 7 games, it would not have changed my outlook on what was going to happen in the following series. I just think Boston has a better roster, first of all. They got Tatum and Brown, who they can be able to run their offense through, to be able to set up other guys, including themselves, and Drew Holiday in that starting lineup that they can be able to run their offense through as far as guards and wings. We have Brunson. We don't have anybody else on our roster that the strength of that particular player is to be able to run the offense in the half court. It's only Brunson. So I think that alone right there gives us a huge disadvantage. Boston is extremely sound defensively. Mm-hmm. And from an offensive perspective, what they run is what we should do more. They do pick and pops, pick and rolls with everybody. 2-3 pick and rolls, 3-4 pick and rolls. Tatum screening for Brown, Brown screening for Tatum. And I just don't think we do enough of that. So that's why I made the choice to pick Boston in that. It's no, of course, if the Knicks win, I'm gonna be extremely happy. But just keeping it real, I just don't think we have enough. To
Josh,
win
let me ask you this, because you obviously feel there's, we can't win. Is there anything you've seen from the Knicks in this series that you think they can take away and bring to that Boston series?
No, but I have I have solutions. I'm not just coming out with problems. I do have solutions, and this is going to the Cat thing. This is the big reason why I called. Sam, you said that you think Cat should play in the post more. I think that is a terrible idea.
Why?
That is a weakness of his. That is a weakness of his. You're going to force a player to play somewhere where he is not necessarily comfortable, but that is a weakness. That's not a strength of his.
Then that's a problem.
Why force him to do that? I have a better idea.
I think he needs to build it. I think this team needs a post player. You don't have to go to him all the time, but I think we need to be able to establish something in the post. When Karl Anthony Towns is playing well in the post and it commands a double team and he's able to kick it out, we blow teams out.
He can command a double team from a perimeter, son. Doesn't have to be in the post.
He's not commanding the double team from the perimeter.
Right, but he's not going to demand one in the post either, because that's a weak part of his game. That's my point.
But if you look at games, as a matter of fact, if you look at the first half of this game, when he would catch it, even if he wasn't scoring, and he would kick it out and move the ball, we get open flashes to the basket, we get open threes. Right? Because it commands it, because it sucks the defense in to the paint. And now it's another, Brunson can dribble, penetrate to suck the defense in, and then Cat, in that post is able to suck the defense in. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think You know, I don't know if he's too old to. He has moves. It's only when it's tough players, Draymond Greens, guys like that he starts to fade away.
Drew Holiday, like the other caller said.
Right. But when he plays against guys that he's stronger than, then he's fine being there.
But Sam, the point is what I'm saying is he's not comfortable there. That's the whole point. Against Detroit, I think he can get away with it. Against Boston, it's just not going to work. I have a better solution. Like I hear what you're saying, and I think in the Detroit series, what you're saying, it makes a lot of sense because it's Detroit. Like that is going to happen against them. But against the more experienced teams like the Bostons, the Golden State, he struggled mightily against Golden State against Draymond Green. Mightily, I don't think he was horrible because he tried to do.
No, he wasn't. He turned up against Golden State.
He got busy.
From
he turned
three,
up. He almost won us the game.
Well, from the perimeter, he was doing outside in. He is not a post player. I just feel like trying to force players to do something that they're not necessarily their best at is not a great thing to do in the playoffs. Like I have a better solution. I have a solution, by the way. I'm not saying that this is a problem. I have a solution. Sam, remember
before you give your solution, real quick. Because I don't think we're saying force him to play inside, but I think he needs to be able to, number one, recognize when he has an advantage and utilize it and take advantage of it. That's one.
Tony, to respond, who is he going to have an advantage against if he can't score in the post on Drew Holiday? Who is he going to have an advantage?
He's skilled enough that he should be able to. That's the problem.
But he can't.
He should be able to shoot. I mean, he could do a fade around. He could do a fadeaway jump
over
shot
over
Tobias Harris. He can't do it over Drew Holiday.
You guys are extremely optimistic, and I wish that was the case, but it's not. I compare Karl Anthony Towns playing in the post because people have been complaining about this for years about Towns playing the post more. You're a five, you need to do this, you need to do that. I compare that to us hoping that Mikal Bridges turns into a ball dominant wing, and it's just not the case. That's not his game. So, and I just don't think that is a solution. I have a better solution. Please listen to me here. Sam, remember the game where Mikal Bridges hit that game-winning shot, where everything started to click for the Knicks when Brunson was out and Mikal Bridges was running the offense in the half court. And I called in after and I said that that was the first time that I seen the Knicks do a 2-3 pick and roll, meaning they had Josh Hart as a screener, who is a liability in the half court sometimes because shooting is not that great. They leave him open, that type of thing. But you get him involved in the action, get him rolling to the basket, and you make some things happen. That is a better solution for me. And the reason how I know is because Boston does it. They run 2-3 Tatum screens for Brown, White screens for Tatum. They do that, and they get switches whenever they want. I think that is a better solution for us to be able to get some viable offense rather than making someone do something that they're not comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think that. And listen, regardless of whether we do it or not, I don't think we're going to beat Boston, period. But that,
I know.
to
I
me,
think
is going to give us a better chance than Karl Anthony Towns trying to play post game.
But I think when you have a team and you don't have everything that you need on that team, just like in a work environment, some people have to do some things that they're not comfortable with. Right? Like, for example, if Karl Anthony Towns was on this team and just say Julius Randle was on the team, you can say, Julius Randle, you go get in the post, Karl Anthony Towns is going to stay outside. Right? Because now you have that option. You don't need to ask him to go inside. You know what I'm saying? He can just stay outside and he can knock those threes down. But when you
don't have to ask Randle to shoot threes.
And you don't have to ask Randle to shoot threes. Right?
Well, I think that's a horrible example because Karl Anthony Towns is a better version of Julius Randle. One, Karl Anthony Towns is not as ball dominant. Karl Anthony Towns is better shooting from the field.
But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if they're listen, Josh. I'm talking about if they were on the same team.
Okay.
I said if they were on the same team, you could say, Karl Anthony Towns, you stay out on the perimeter. Julius Randle can go in the post. You know what I'm saying?
Julius Randle doesn't do that. That's not a chance for him either, Sim. That's my point.
Huh? What?
Julius Randle in the post, that's not a strength for him. Julius Randle is a perimeter outside type of player.
He built his career on that.
And the
being
point
a guy
is,
that can bang down low.
And the point is he draws the defense. He draws the double team. That's one of the benefits we had with Brunson and Randall is him playing in the post and drawing the double team and then allowing the floor to open that way.
Right. But
I don't
what I'm
disagree
saying,
with the double team
what
part.
I'm saying is if you had another big, right? Like sometimes you got to give what the team needs. Right. And right now we have one guy that can get inside consistently, and that's Brunson. And it puts mad pressure on Brunson. Nobody else can do it consistently. The only other guy, in my opinion, that can do it consistently is Cat. He can do it in a multitude of ways.
How those?
Hold on.
Is he doing it from a post, or is he doing it from the outside?
Listen, he can do it. He can do it in a multitude of ways. He can do it from the post, which he shies away from, unless it's guys that he can overpower. Right? He can sometimes put the ball on the floor when the situation is right. Right? Those are two ways that he's able to do it, and he doesn't. Except for some situation, when he has a hot night, he does it. But a lot of times, he just fades out to the 3-point line and waits for that.
Okay, so
and waits for that to happen, and then maybe he'll get a pump fake and go to the basket. I think he has to give the team. Everybody has to give the team something that. If the team doesn't have those pieces, you guys say, okay, I got to give a little bit here, I got to give a little bit there to try to fit those pieces together. And I would just like to see. I'm not saying.
I understand what you're saying.
And listen, I'm not saying take the three away from him, like Sean Richardson said. Oh, Sim said, take the three. This is Sean Richardson said. Towns is the best big man shooter in the world, and Sim wants to take that away from him. You can't make this up. Nobody said take it away from him. That's dumb. I wouldn't want to take it away from him.
Either or, Sam. Right. It doesn't have to be either or. I know exactly what you're saying, and I'm not going there. Sean Richardson that's not what Sim is saying at all.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, I think that he should not be a primary post guy.
Okay.
For multitude of reasons. One, like you said, he's not comfortable there. He's shying away from it. That means he's not comfortable. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
He has the ability to do so, but it's depending on the matchup, all that stuff. I got that. So that's number one. And number two, I just don't think in the NBA today that's necessary to win a title. And I'm going to be really frank here, because this is not just you, Sam. This is many Knicks fans that have been watching the team for years. People are stuck in the 90s. Let's just keep it real. Back down. You compared him to Shaq just now a minute ago. Those days are done.
No. I didn't compare his play to Shaq. I compared his demanding of the ball to Shaq. I said Shaq would have said, "Give me the effing ball." Anywhere, Shaq would have said, "Give me the effing ball." What the F are you doing?
Okay,
that's what I would.
And don't let it be a certain guy defending him that Shaq says feels offended by. Where you think the whole barbecue chicken term came from? You gonna put this guy on me? That's what we need from Cat. You gonna put this guy on me?
Okay, but he's not that. Okay, so let me get to that part, because Sam, you have every right not to like a player for whatever, the fakeness or whatever and all of that. But that's not just that. That's the nature of the league, and that's really what I'm trying to get at. Like, the league is not the same way, and it goes back to folks being stuck in this 90s, 80s type of mentality where you have to be tough and you have to do this. The fight, the quote unquote altercation between the Pistons and the Timberwolves, that was all big. That's the biggest thing the NBA has had in years. Like, and it's like they like chest bumping like it's elementary school in the cafeteria. I just think that is not necessary anymore to win a championship in the NBA. You have to have some level of toughness. I'm not saying completely take it out. You have to have something, but I just don't think it's necessary. And guess what, Knicks fans that are listening, that are going to hate me for what I'm about to say, even that didn't win us a championship. So, I just think that the NBA is different now. I want to keep Cat doing. I like Cat what Cat is doing now. This is the best season of his career, by the way. Being outside in, he's more efficient than Randall. He can play the same way Randall plays, more efficient, not as ball dominant, which means he's not going to turn the ball over. So I'm going to keep him in that role. I just think it's better for the Knicks to try to utilize more of their guards and wings to try to get action rather than using Cat to get that action. Get him involved early. If you need to give him the ball in the perimeter, whenever, if in a post, sometimes, whatever. But I'm not going to try to force Cat to play somewhere where he is not comfortable. And I just think that if you put him in that situation against Boston, I just don't think it's best. In either way, like I said, I don't think the Knicks are going to beat Boston anyway. They're not.
Hey,
Because
Fulio.
of the roster and because of Boston is just too much for us. I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah, Fulio. So let me just run this by you. Like, forget about the 80s, 90s, and the toughness, and you got to demand the ball, all that kind of stuff. I'm putting all that stuff to the side.
No, you got to demand the ball. You have to demand the ball. I agree with that part.
Okay, but I'm just saying to Sim's point, right? If we are a collective, right, and we're like, okay, we gotta cook some food, or we going to the barbecue, we having a dinner, and it's like, well, damn, Fulio don't make the best cake, but he's the best cake maker amongst the four of us.
Amongst us.
That we got, yeah.
He's the best cake maker amongst the four of us. And the fact is, Bridges can't get past nobody and get his own shot. Hart can't get past nobody and get his own shot. OG can't get past nobody and get his own shot. These guys can't post up against superior playoff defense that they're going against so far and what they'll face against Boston.
They're better players off the ball.
So the best person that they have, even though, to your point, it's a fair point, that's not necessarily his top tier bag on a night or on a, that's not where you want him 80% of the time, but to sacrifice and compromise for the team, we have to require you to do this more than you normally do it right now, because for us to go where we need to go, you're the best person. We don't have anybody else. There is nobody else.
That is absolutely right. But see, there's two different points with that, because we're gonna need Bridges is the secondary ball handler on this team, right? He's
not good. And he's not good.
No, he's good. He's good and he's decent. But
he's not good.
So
he's not good, Fulio. He cannot run the offense.
I agree.
He can't run the offense. He can't get the ball to Cat where he can score. He can't get past nobody and get to the rim and get his own shot. He's a wing that can't get past a guy and get to the rim and get a shot. Do you realize that?
There's nothing. Hold on, Shadow. Hold on. Wait a minute. I don't think there's anything wrong with that being the reality. But like you said, that is the best that we have, and we're going to need that. It is a guard and wing league. So I'm willing to, what you just said, I'm willing to do that compromise with Bridges, because that's all we got, it being a guard and wing league. But when it comes to bigs, bigs are stepping out. There's no back to the basket, post big in the NBA anymore. Even Giannis, Jokic, these guys play from the outside in. They have the ability to do inside work and back you down and stuff like that. But most of the time they're operating outside. That's why Jokic gets 10, 11 assists a game from the outside. I would rather sacrifice and make that compromise with Bridges, being that's the best we have, rather than Cat. And that's why the 2-3 pick and roll was so successful for us. You know what I'm saying? That's where my solution comes in, not with Cat. You know what I'm saying? We've been begging for years for us to get a big that can shoot. You know what I'm saying? And I know, Sam, you're not saying that you want to get rid of that completely, but I just think that is an asset, and I would rather take that asset and try to find something somewhere else, a la Bridges, as opposed to making Cat more of a primary post player. I just don't think that is viable against Boston. Like I said, either way.
You putting words in everybody. Nobody said primary. Nobody said primary. To be honest, I think Cat should shoot more threes as well. I don't think we're maximizing his total skill set. And that's what I feel like we should be doing. Whether that's him or Tibbs or a combination. You got to be able to use everything that's in your toolbox on any given night. Say that again.
You don't feel like Cat has used everything in his toolbox?
I think he's shown it, but I think he's shown it, but I don't think he's done it on a night to night basis. I don't think he's done. He might have a great night shooting tonight. The next night he might have what he needs to figure out what we need tonight. You know what I mean? If a guy is gonna put a small guy on you, you need to know. All right, well tonight I need to figure out how to use my length, use my size, make what they're doing an advantage for us. Because if you're going to stray away from that, then you're playing right into what they want. You're helping the defense.
Right, but guess what? But guess what? Boston is not falling for that game. You know why? Because they put Drew Holiday on him in the post. He wasn't comfortable. That's the point as I'm trying to make to you. He is not comfortable with it. So you're forcing him to do something that he's not comfortable with. And I just think that it's more of a detriment instead of just playing his game. Let him play. He's efficient doing what Julius Randle did last year. That same role, outside in, efficient.
Yeah, but
he's
Josh,
not even doing that because Randle was putting up like eight threes a game.
and the other thing too is like I understand what you're trying to say, Josh, and maybe that's not his strong suit. Maybe playing in the post is just not something that he's super psyched about it. You know,
I'm not forcing him to do that. I'm not going to run my offense to catch in the post. But go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
No, I hear you. But the problem with this Knicks team is that we don't have an exploit. Okay. And to be a team that gets victories consistently in the playoffs, you got to have some type of exploit, some type of go-to that's going to make it tough for the defense to stop. And we have mismatches with size against the Detroit team that's undersized. And you would think that Cat is a mismatch no matter where he's at, whether he's in the paint or if he's on the perimeter. But it hasn't been the case. And you're saying that he's probably not best suited for the post. So then, the only alternative has to come from the coach. The Knicks need to come up with some type of scheme or some type of plays that will create mismatches.
I agree with that 100%. And I do think Cat was a mismatch in this series. I do think he was a mismatch in this series. Now, tonight, him only having, 9, 10 shots?
10 shots.
We need to get him the ball more. I think Brunson was a lot more ball dominant than I would like him to. But, I mean, if you knock it down, he started with 21 points in the first quarter. And I'm saying he was just getting whatever he wanted. So I think that's kind of how that happened. And sometimes it's going to be like that. And again, against Detroit, you can get away with that. I just don't think Boston is the same. It's a different matchup. Like Tony mentioned, from night to night, what do we need tonight to win the game? I think that is a good regular season mentality. But when you're playing a series, when you have to play the same team every 2 nights or 3 nights, whatever it is, I think it does come down to coaching, like you said, Ron. And I just think that teams are going to prepare for that. And Boston being who they are, defending champions, sound defensively. They're very sound defensively. They have length. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think that is, something that we should look for Cat to do and rely on it. I just don't think that now maybe he'll have a game where he can be able to do that. But the next game, being that Boston sound defensively, to have good coaching, they're going to take that away. Just like first game of the series against Detroit. Brunson did whatever he wanted to do. Second game, what they do? They doubled him. I don't know why they stopped doubling Brunson. They should have kept doubling him because that would have been an advantage, but that's lack of coaching, whatever. I just don't think it's going to work against Boston. I just don't see that being a viable option now. Now, the 2-3 pick and roll, let's run some more of that. Let's get some more of that action. Get Josh Hart going. Y'all were talking about what Josh Hart has not done in this series, not shooting and stuff like that. He does the other stuff, but that's a way to get him going. Get him involved in the action. Make some things happen that way. You know what I'm saying? And we don't need Mitch to start. I think that defeats the purpose for me for Cat. I've always said that. So that's just how I feel, y'all. I know y'all disagree. Knicks fans are going to be mad, throwing tomatoes at me for saying what I said about the 90s and all that, but I wouldn't be me if I didn't keep it real.
No. Well, my thing, what you say about the 90s is when you're playing a team that has more talent, you got to find an edge, right? And to me, the toughness, the aggressiveness, that's the edge that you bring to a team that has more talent.
Yeah, like Detroit against us this series, right?
That's what they tried to do to us.
That's what they was trying to bring to us. We had more talent, so okay, we got to bring more edge. We got to bring more aggressiveness. Because the one thing that the smooth, talented players dislike is a nasty defensive player that does not allow them to get to their spots.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
Thompson, or yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it didn't work, man. That's the point. My whole point was the whole toughness thing and I'm not just talking to you specifically, but I mean, it's a general consensus. Like I said, I speak fluent Knicks fan. People are so stuck on this whole toughness. You got to be tough and all of this and all of that. Like, yo, that's not winning in today's NBA. Like that alone. The talent has to be there. You have to have some sort of toughness. I think the talent outweighs that. You know what I'm saying? I think that
does.
outweighs that. Like,
It does. But if you
Yeah.
don't have the talent, you got to make up for it somehow to try to win.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And until you
Absolutely.
get the talent, you say, okay, well, this is what the Knicks have been doing for the last couple of years, right? We're going to win with toughness until we get the talent. We have more talent, but we don't have enough yet. So we still got to
Right.
have some elements of toughness in there.
I
Yeah.
agree with you 100%. But since you put it that way, I just want to finish on this. What you just said is exactly why I've always felt that the Knicks were not going to be able to compete with Boston in the 7-game series because of that right there. And this team ain't tough, like you said. You know what I mean? So that's
No.
where I'm coming from. It makes sense. People are not going to like it, but I've always felt this way. I said once Boston got Porzingis, they're gonna win the East, and I'm still picking them over Cleveland. I'm doing that. I'm sticking to that take. I just don't think we have enough to beat Boston. But hey, let's see. That's why they play the games, right? So
Let's see.
you know.
See.
And while you jump off Fulio, I will also add everything you just said is exactly what I said was a takeaway. Hopefully, the Knicks will have from this very tough, intense series against Detroit. That hopefully they'll bring some of that to the Boston series because Orlando surely wasn't as intense as Detroit is, and maybe they'll catch Boston, feeling comfortable.
Hey, that's Orlando. We talking about Detroit versus Orlando. Come on, Shuttle. You know better than that. The cities are tough. You know what I'm saying? Detroit's tougher than Orlando.
Yeah.
But appreciate you taking my call, Sam.
No
I just
doubt.
want to elaborate on that.
Appreciate it, man. No doubt.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
You guys
you.
have a good night, man. Go Knicks.
Let's
Go
do
Captain
it.
Clutch.
Let's go.
He
I
definitely
got
got the
you.
tomatoes. He definitely got those tomatoes he was asking for.
Yeah, he definitely did. I was gonna let him know, but
They bombing them.
Knicks versus Boston, man. The series, I guess, starts Monday. Tony, how do you feel about the series, man?
I mean, I just hope it's competitive, right? I think it should be.
Mm-hmm.
We do get some rest. We get some time to game plan. I don't think they're at their strongest, Boston, right now. You know what I mean? They do get some rest too. So maybe they get a little healthier. You know what I mean? With their rest. But it should be a good series. This is really like a measuring stick, right? This is really to like season's over. Regular season.
I know you can hear me.
Yo, we'll be right with you. Right with you, Lord.
the regular season's over. You know what I mean? We had all that time to grow and learn each other, and now we had a tough series to kind of figure some things out. This is the real measuring stick, right? Can we squeeze it out and win? That would be awesome. But mainly make it competitive, right? Make it a fight. I want it to be a remnant of what we just went through. As much as hard as it is to say that for my heart and my health, you know, watching these games, you know what I mean? I can't lie. Having that series versus Boston would be a lot more satisfying than having that series that I just went through against Detroit, which was like nerve-wracking and made me wonder about, you know, knock on wood, had we lost, where that would have left, you know, us podcasters, us fans. You know, I know 100 narratives that would have potentially been spun had it went to 7 and we not won at home.
Yeah, well, you know, part of that is because we were supposed to win against Detroit. Now we're going into Boston, where most people are like, "Nah, he's probably not going to win." You know what I'm saying? So you know, you know, if we're playing if it's that type of series against Boston, and it's tight every game, you know what I'm saying, and it's a 2-1 series, 2-2 series, 3-2 series, we feeling like Detroit's feeling.
Yeah, we wish for that. Yeah,
As far as fans, we like, okay, you know, we right here. We can slip up and win Game 6. You know, anything can happen in Game 7. So you know, we're kind of the Detroit.
Sam, don't let it be some controversy cause. Don't let it be that.
You know, so yeah. Ron, what about you? How you feeling about this series?
Yeah, I mean, I don't I'm still like trying to wrap my head around it. We all kind of feel the same way. I mean, look, there's no sugarcoating it. Boston is the better team, right? But just because you're the better team doesn't mean you can't lose, which we saw with how Detroit was playing the Knicks in this series. Like, you can lose.
Right.
So, I'm just hoping that the Knicks go out there and try to execute and move the ball, believe in each other, and get some good shots. I hope Thibodeau is a little bit more flexible with some of his offensive sets, trying to get better looks for these guys, and make it a little easier for them, because quite frankly, like, it's going to be different, man, because if we have to have close games, I don't know what favors the Knicks. If we have to have close games versus Boston, I don't know if that's a benefit, because Boston is a much better team at knowing what to do in those situations. They are veteran, they are champion. They ain't going to be giving it away the way Detroit's been doing it. So, I will worry about that a little bit. So I think, like, the Knicks have to find a way to be able to lock in on this team, and in the fourth quarter get leads and extend leads, like, get like a 7, 8, 9 point lead to be able to. It's not, you ain't gonna. I don't think you can totally blow a team like Boston out, but you got to have a nice, comfortable lead and continue to score baskets. One of the problems we saw tonight is the Knicks went on a stretch; they couldn't score no baskets. They had 9 points in the fourth quarter for a while. That's not going to get it done. So you just got to keep putting pressure on the opposing team to keep putting something on the scoreboard. The other thing too is, I think Boston is going to make the Knicks work a lot more defensively than Detroit. So Tibbs got to go into his bench bag. Okay, listen, if Tibbs goes with this, I understand it's the playoffs. I know how he does. But if he plays the same amount of players, the same amount of minutes, it's going to be bad. I'm telling you, you may not want to see some of these dudes, but he's got to play some of these guys against Boston. Boston's going to make these guys work on the defensive side. They got just too many weapons over there, and they play smart, sound basketball. We need help. So
I gotta jump in, Ron. I gotta jump in, Ron, because I've been watching this very closely, and I'm just gonna pull up the current game that is 111-105 with 18 seconds remaining. Clippers up 6 over the Nuggets, looking to tie the series at 3-3. The Denver Nuggets have played 3 players off of their bench. Peyton Watson, 11 minutes. DeAndre Jordan, 3 minutes. And Russell Westbrook, 34 minutes. Off the bench for the Clippers, they've only played 3 players. Batum, Derrick Jones, and Bogdanovich. Patty Mills, Ben Simmons, not seeing the floor. Three bench players for both teams. This whole thing about Tibbs and this narrative of not playing the bench players and he needs to expand the bench, that's not what other teams are doing either. So, like, we got to have a reality check about all of that. And that was one of my things. That was one of my things to talk about tonight, because we were going down a line of all of the players. I was hoping we got the Tibbs, and that was one of the things I wanted to address, which is the whole narrative of not playing the bench players when other teams are not doing it, and your bench players playing like trash.
Right, but Shuttle, the difference is the other teams don't have the same problems that the Knicks have. The other teams ain't having problems putting teams away in the fourth quarter. The other teams ain't consistently coming out in third quarters and stinking it up. The best third quarter I've seen the Knicks play in this whole series was tonight. Tonight was the best they've looked in the third quarter.
That's a fact. In this series, for sure. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, they've been struggling in third quarters, for the last 2 months of the season. And in the playoffs, it's no different. So the reason why I bring it up more for the Knicks is just because the Knicks already have some things they have to fix and get over. Could they get over it against Boston? Maybe. And then the whole thing is moot, right? And then
all the teams have stuff that they can improve on and get better and be better at.
But the difference is if your team consistently has problems coming out in the third quarter, in the second half, you're struggling out the gate. Against a team like Boston, if they put their foot on the gas in the third quarter, game might be over. They ain't Detroit. Like, they'll put up a 40-point quarter on you.
It's over. Figured out the answer for that.
I hear you.
You heard what they did, right?
Yeah.
They did the whole layup line. They got the adrenaline flowing. Instead of just walking out there just being comfortable, just chucking up shots before the half starts.
So,
And,
okay. But the other thing I wanted to say about it is not just the fact that they have issues in the third quarter. It's not just the fact that the fourth quarter has been very tough for the Knicks to close teams out. The other thing too is
second or third lowest scoring bench.
Yep. And Boston is, like I said, I'm going to say it again because we for the people out there that do not like the fact that Tibbs is playing his guys a lot of minutes. Boston is going to make the Knicks work. Okay, so Detroit made them work in these minutes. Boston is going to make them work even more. And we already talked about the perimeter defense. Boston's going to have these Knicks players running all around the court. So I'm just saying, like, this is a time to utilize a Precious Achiuwa here and there, to utilize a DeLon Wright if you need be. Honestly, I don't even know why we're talking about this. I said it before, and I'm going to say it even more now. DeLon Wright needs to play in this series. DeLon Wright needs to take some of Deuce's minutes immediately. Okay? Deuce,
I agree. I agree.
I want Deuce to continue to play. Maybe he'll open up, but DeLon Wright cut into some of them.
He got to sit down. He got to sit down because you can't put him, Payne, and Deuce all three at the same time. So somebody got to sit. I'd rather campaign right now.
I think the biggest difference with Boston is they are a complete team. They utilize their bench. They've empowered their bench. And it's not about this year, right? This has been the trend over years. Pritchard wasn't he most improved? If not in the running for most improved,
he was in the running.
Prior to now, getting sixth man, like he's worked his way up into the role that he's currently under, but he's been empowered from years in the past. Same thing with Hauser. You know what I mean? They are utilized to their strength and empowered. For me personally, I would love for us to utilize our bench. I just think it's too late. You know what I mean? Like Tibbs is not making that adjustment now. To be honest, once the season started the way it started with us behind the ball with the injuries, I knew it was an uphill battle for us to kind of figure that out by the end of the year. And anyway, I do think he should use people sporadically. Not all these guys playing, but he needs to find a role for Precious this game. You know what I mean? Based off of the need.
Yeah.
I think he could have used Shamet in this series. His shooting kind of match up. He's capable of having a hot quarter, a hot half. You know what I mean? And kind of matching Beasley's energy, even though that was only this game and the first game. But you know what I mean? Like having that type of an impact for a game or two, like Beasley did, that could change a series. I think we have those weapons. I just don't know if Tibbs is gonna utilize them, but I think that would be the best way to utilize them. Not all of them at once. You gotta find your spots for them, and those end up being tough coaches' decision. Oh, why'd you go with Precious? You should have went with Shamet. Why'd you go with Shamet? You should have went with Precious. Why'd you play either one of them? They're trash. You know what I mean? Like no matter what, we're gonna find something to complain about.
Yeah,
and disagree with.
Yeah, let me get to Lord Scientist on the phone. Lord Scientist, what's popping with you, bro?
Hey, yo, first and foremost, listen, before we even get to Boston, let's just be grateful for the way our captain Clutch did what he did.
No doubt.
Not only did he do it in style and fashion, you know what I mean? Big up to all my West Indian monsters. Listen, he did it in a way where it was clear why he was the Clutch player of the year.
Yeah.
So let's focus on that part, okay? Now, boom. Now, as far as Boston, which part of me on my man, salute Ron, salute DJ Shuttle. It's your boy Lord Scientist.
Salute.
Salute Tone. You know what I mean? Yo, Black is hey, yo, Dig. So, boom. What you just was saying, Tony, you were saying about utilizing the assets. Game one is going to be something very interesting for how we know this Boston thing is going to play out. If Tibbs, which we believe that we know Tibbs is going to stay with the starting five, if Tibbs switches up his starting five, where he has Mitch starting, Cat at the 4, then you can flip this however you want. It could be OG and then Mikal and then Jalen. Okay, that length matches Boston. We could check the height of every Boston starting 5. Maybe Jalen is the weak link, you could say. But if he switches the lineup, where it's Jalen, Mikal, OG, Cat at the 4, and Mitch at the 5, we match Boston lengthwise. Okay. My concern is about Kristaps off the bench. Now I don't know, because again, if y'all don't know me, I'm legally blind. I don't know what Boston's starting 5 is. Y'all can tell me. I mean, not the starting 5, what their bench. How deep does the coach go on the bench? Does he go 8 deep, 9 deep, or 10 deep? Because if he goes,
let me help you with
over
let me
8.
help you. Peace, Lord. Let me help you with that. So the starting lineup is Holiday, who's missed the last 3 games with a hamstring injury. So in place of him, Horford has been starting. So right now with Holiday out, it's Tatum, Brown, Derek White, Horford, and Porzingis. And they're playing Pritchard, Luke Cornett, and Hauser are their 3 players off the bench. They're only going 3 deep off the bench, just like the Knicks.
Only 8.
Yeah, but that's with Holiday out. If Holiday plays, then they go 4 off the bench. Then they go 9.
Okay, so listen, Tibbs has to match 9 players. He has to. That's the only way we're going to have a chance to, because you got to match size, you got to match scoring ability. Okay, and I'm trying to make this beef because I know, Sim, you probably got more people trying to call in. But yo, listen, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. I'll listen. You know what I mean, and I'll interject whatever. But listen, number one. Ron, I agree with you from Still Knicks fans. This your boy, Law Scientist. Sometimes I'll text you. Listen, my daughter helped me text you. But listen,
Appreciate you.
DeLon Wright need to play. DeLon Wright need to play, not campaign. You give me DeLon Wright. You give me Deuce. Listen, something is telling me Deuce is going to have a big game during Boston. Deuce always fight hard for whatever reason when it's against Boston.
Well, he ain't had no big games this series, so he's way overdue.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Deuce, I heard Deuce just had a child. So, you know what I mean? Like, that could be motivation for him. Believe me, I believe he's going to be looking at film.
I know what Sim is going to say. He was up late with the baby.
Yeah, and we all fathers, I believe, so we know how that is. I got 3 beautiful ones in that room.
We know how that goes.
Mm-hmm. So listen, I really believe, I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was you, Shuttle, or you, Tony. One of y'all said it about Shamet. Listen, another thing that we have to do is we have to match Boston's firepower. We got to get up threes. We have to get up threes. When we have opportunities in the paint, capitalize on that. Get to the foul line, whatever. But we have to match their firepower. They punch us, we punch them. You know what I mean? We got one of the. Listen, Cat is at the 4. Who plays the 4 for Boston?
Horford, right?
Cat's at the
No,
5.
It's Tatum, I think.
Tatum.
Or
Okay.
normally Tatum with the double big lineup, then it got to be Horford.
And it'd be Horford.
Yeah.
The double big.
Right. So right. If they see that we got Mitch and Cat out there, they're gonna try to double big lineup to match. That's what you're telling me.
Well, no. Shuttle said Holiday has been out. So with Holiday out, they play the double big lineup. When Holiday starts, it's him and White, and then who comes off the bench?
That comes off the bench.
Yeah, Horford comes off the bench. Right. So you gotta figure OG's you gotta figure is gonna go against Tatum, or maybe even Bridges. But between Bridges and OG, they're gonna be guarding Tatum and Brown. However you play it, and you know, and then Cat will probably stick Horford, and
On the four, at the four.
we'll
Right.
probably stick KP, and they'll put Josh Hart on Al Horford.
No, I'm not talking about with Josh. I'm talking about if Tibbs do the lineup I said, where it's Mitch, Cat at the 4. Mitch is 5, Cat at the 4, OG at the 3, and Mikal at the 2. I really want Deuce, but I don't know because Deuce is kind of short. You feel me? But defensive-wise, I would rather have Mikal and Josh where they on the bench with Daylon Wright and whoever, Shamet or Precious. To me, Precious, somebody said something about Precious playing. I forgot who said it. But to me, Precious has to play. Why? Because of his height, especially if they're going 9 deep. If Boston is 9 deep, we have to be 9 deep. We can't go 8 deep against a 9 deep bench. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. We see.
And if I don't think Mitch starts, but if he started, then that opens the door for Precious to play because you're gonna have to have a backup big, and they still have another 7-footer in Cornette who can stretch the floor. You know what I mean?
But
So
listen, listen. I don't, we know Tibbs don't trust rookies, but Huck Porty is healthy. That boy is healthy, so it may not have to be Precious. You know what I'm saying?
He's gonna be a healthy cheerleader. Yo, Lord, he's gonna be a healthy cheerleader, Lord.
Tibbs
I believe anything is possible because we talking about foul trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Well, foul trouble is the exception. That's different than being part of the expected rotation.
Right, but what I'm saying is understand who we playing. We playing the Celtics. We're playing a well-oiled team. They're going to look at how we're trying to match them and what they're going to do. They're going to try to get Cat in foul trouble. They're going to try to get Mitch in foul trouble. And if Precious is playing, depending on how he play, you know what I'm saying? Some Tibbs may not want to do it, but he may be forced to do it because we're not playing Detroit now. Like Ron said, they're going to make us pay on the mistakes that we made. So if we're going, listen, I mean, I'm going to be with the Knicks regardless. I rode with the Knicks since 1973 when I was 2 years old. That's the last time we won a championship. I'm 54. You know what I mean? So listen, me as a fan, I'm going to ride with us till the wheels fall off. I done been up and down through the valleys and peaks with my team. You know what I'm saying? I'm orange and blue through and through. You know what I mean? I should be the one sitting next to Spike and when you pan left to right. But anyway, you know what I mean?
Mars.
My point is that we have something. We can't ignore it. We can't deny it. It's just a matter of what is Tibbs' strategy going to be? Because if we go in there Monday and it's the same starting 5, we're not matching Boston starting 5. That's my issue. That's my point in what I'm saying. Like, Sam, you a coach. So I know you know when I'm saying you got to match something. You might have a designated starting 5 that you're going to use through the majority of the season. But when we get to crunch time, we in playoffs, you got to flip it. And I'm telling you, the way I believe Tibbs is, because Tibbs is from under Van Gundy. You know what I mean? Tibbs has if he doesn't do it, then I'm going to be looking like, man, something's going on. Because I believe Tibbs is going to give us a different starting 5 against Boston. He has to.
I don't know. That's not what Tibbs. I don't know, man. I don't know. Lord, I appreciate your time.
Hey, yo, salute, DJ
man.
Shuttle. I'll try to catch you on Dope Soul. Hey, yo, salute to the Queen. Salute to Lady and the Chef, the whole NBK fam. Hey, yo, salute to my man who really, 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 really got balls, Jay Boogie, your boy Lord Scientist, Brooklyn's finest, a.k.a. the Michael Jackson of Brooklyn. Salute, and I'm out.
The Michael Jackson of Brooklyn. Hold on.
Yo, Only thing I can say is Tibbs is not changing that starting lineup.
Nah, Tibbs is gonna go with what he goes with, and if it don't work, then he might think about changing it. But you gotta prove it don't work first before he gonna change it up.
Tibbs ain't touching that lineup. Tibbs, Huck Porty, Huck Porty, he's not gonna play. Precious probably isn't gonna play.
Those are elimination game adjustments.
Yeah. Tibbs, and I'm not saying he's wrong about anything. I'm just saying Tibbs ain't changing nothing. We know that. You know what I'm saying? Tibbs ain't changing. Tibbs is, this is the lineup that I'm rocking with. And I think the philosophy behind it is this is what I've been going with. This is what we won our games with. This is what I'm going to stick with until I'm desperate. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
I just need the Knicks to win the first game and every other game, right? 1, 3, 5, 7. Let's go.
Right.
When he had Elfrid Payton, he wouldn't take him out of that starting lineup, but he would take him out quick. You know what I mean? So
once he missed a couple layups, he was gone.
He was going quick, fast, in a hurry. You know what I mean? Vision ain't blurry. So if there's somebody that was demanding their minutes, or if Boston is taking advantage, then I don't know, man. I think Tibbs is sometimes you gotta hit him over the head with a brick, but sometimes he do see things too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No doubt.
Word. Yeah, I can't take credit for that. That ain't mine. I got that from the missus. You heard?
Okay. Yeah.
That's her balls. I don't want her coming for her copyrights.
That's funny. Oh, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna get up out of here because I gotta get up early. To do a training in the morning. So I gotta roll. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna go to sleep happy. Next one, this joint, going to sleep happy. Feel good about that.
Wake up happy. Yeah, I mean, training class will go smooth tomorrow.
Yeah, for real. Canberry said we haven't beat a good team all year. We'll be lucky to get one. Well, let's see what happens, man.
Lucky to get one. Wow.
Let me see. Kevin, thank you. Said he thinks I missed their super chat. Let me check and see.
Oh, nah, you can't be missing the super chats.
Canberry, I think I did miss one. Thank you for the super chat. He said Ant-Man said last night he would have kept gunning if Drew didn't tell him give him the damn ball to close the game. Gotta demand it. That's what you gotta do sometimes. Mr. D-Man said, are you getting tickets for round 2? I don't know about this season. You know what I mean?
And they probably ain't even cheaper in Boston.
Nah, they not.
They might be like 10% cheaper, but they ain't cheap. I went to a game in Boston. I actually went Lakers versus Boston NBA Finals. I was there for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was in like the row before the last row at the top. You know what I mean? And it was still mad bread, but I was there.
Trey Frazier, thank you for the super chat. Definitely appreciate you. Farrell named Legion said, what's good, everyone? I'm saying it now. Jaylen Brown, up and down. Bobby Brown singing Don't Be Cruel on the merry-go-round. Knicks in 7.
I like that. Knicks in 7. That's really that.
Oh yeah, my video coming before the first game. Believe it.
Right.
Nice.
Randu became a member. Appreciate you.
My guy Randu.
Yeah, there we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. And Kevin, thank you for reminding me about the super chats, man. It's almost gone. Appreciate that. Well, folks, get up out of here for the night. Everybody can sleep easy. I might watch a replay of the game going to sleep.
It's playing right now. They're already in I think at halftime or the beginning of the third. I was on mute. I was checking out some of the post-game press conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, your man Cat. God. That's all I can say.
I don't want to talk about it.
I ain't gonna lie, Sam. I thought I was gonna be right, and this was gonna be the game we blew them out, especially the way we started off.
Right.
And I was like, all right, close out energy. Oh man, but we got Captain Clutch. That's what we need, I guess.
That's what it is. We got Capo. Folks, we up out of here. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK.